Hey gang, we're getting towards the end of the summer here, and I know a lot of you are wondering maybe how can I get my kid that extra edge before the season starts? It's not going to cost me $1 million in ice time. And we teamed up with NHL Sense Arena. For those of you who don't know, NHL Sense Arena is a VR hockey training tool that uses the MetaQuest. It's got hundreds of drills, coaches' plans, even full ice 3v3 NHL style games, and it works for players and goalies. I'll tell you what's cool about it is that my kids actively want to dive in and use it, right? I mean, look, the kids love being at the rink too, but it's costly. So this is something they can use at the house all the time. I think what's also important is it replaces a lot of the other type of games that they're playing. And this one helps them with their hockey IQ, their decision making, their play reading, their positioning, especially for my goaltender. And what's cool is that it tracks everything. So now the leaderboard for my kids, it's how am I becoming as a hockey player? Which is awesome when they find that love for the game. So if you didn't know, look, this is, again, it's used by NHL pros, Division I college athletes. It's the top VR training tool, and it's licensed by the NHL, right? It's also an official partner of USA Hockey, the OMHA up in Canada. So this is the real deal, all right? And right now through our partnership, it's only $299 for a full year. And when you think about it, that's less than $1 a day, or really it's like one on-ice session, and you get it for the year. So look, they've made a website for this audience. If you want more information and to check out the specs, that's sensearena.com/OKPH. Again, sensearena.com/OKPH. So check it out. Enjoy it. Again, we're so happy to have partnered with them. We look for partners that understand the trust and value system that we have here at Our Kids Play Hockey. And with that said, let's get you into this week's episode. Enjoy it. Hello, hockey skaters and goalies around the world, and welcome back to another edition of The Ride to the Rink. It's Lee with Hayley today, and Hayley just did a tremendous episode that you can listen to about her entire schedule coming up from the year, from the USA Hockey kind of training camps and meetings through the PWHL schedule, and then the Olympics, and then back to the PWHL to try and win a championship, and then definitely going to a beach after that season to relax. Highly encourage you all to listen to that episode if you want a day in the life of a professional and Olympic athlete. But Hayley, what we wanted to talk to the kids today on your ride to the rink is all about your youth hockey journey. Now we talked about you being a pro in everything you do, but the things that you had to do as a youth hockey player to prepare physically, mentally, recovery, but then also maybe some of the things you wish you had done different, or things also that you did really well that you'd recommend to everybody. Let's walk through some of those.
Well, it was just reminding me of how crazy my youth schedule was. So it's, talking about the pro league and how crazy that schedule is. Absolutely. But my youth hockey days, I was doing some traveling. It was insane. I remember because in high school, I played in Canada. So I'm from Buffalo, New York. So it's about an hour and a half drive to practice one way.
Wow.
Luckily, my dad did the driving, and then I would just sleep most of the time because I couldn't do homework. I'd get car sick. But it was a lot. There was practices 3 times a week, and I'd have to leave right after school. And then we'd have games on the weekend. So I was probably up there 5 times a week.
Wow.
During the season, and also juggling high school and then eventually trying to figure out recruiting and colleges. And so it was a lot to juggle and handle. When I look back, I truly do not know how I did it. In terms of I didn't get much sleep. I was up at 6 a.m. and getting home at 11 midnight every night, pretty much. So it was a lot. I don't really recommend how much I traveled.
International too. You have to go across the border every day.
Yes.
Twice.
Yeah. Big props to my dad for the driving piece of that, for sure. I think the biggest thing I wished I did focus on was my rest and my nutrition a little bit. I would say I didn't really have meals prepared during those. So we'd stop at Wendy's a lot and get burgers and stuff. I got the Double Baconator.
Oh, wow.
But you had it.
That's calories right there. But you're burning them. You were burning them.
Yes, absolutely. Protein and calories. Yeah. So yeah, I think that was maybe something I wished I had focused on when I was younger. And then the rest piece, which I'm not really sure how, based on my schedule, I would have gotten more rest, but I just remember it was definitely exhausting. I was sleepwalking a lot, things like that. So I think I wished I had gotten more sleep. So make sure you prioritize sleep.
Well, I'm going to say this: as much as I love Wednesday's kids, that was not a endorsement from Hayley to go get a Baconator every day. She did
Yeah,
say that.
don't do that.
I just want to say that. That in terms of rest, I mean, I'm sure Hayley, some of it, kids, you actually need more sleep than adults do, but you also bounce back faster than adults do. But Haley's right. Your rest, your ability to sleep, will affect your performance pretty dramatically. Another thing I want to dive into, Haley, is I'm guessing you wanted to do this, right? Like, we have to talk about that. You wanted this. You were on a dream. You wanted to play Division I hockey. You wanted to be an Olympian one day. So that must have driven you quite a bit too, correct?
Absolutely. Because originally my dad wanted me to go to Shattuck St. Mary's, and I was like, I don't really want to do that. And then we were given this opportunity to play. It was called funny enough, Provincial Women's Hockey League, PWHL at the time. Yep.
Yeah.
And it was just such a great league. It was super physical, super fast paced.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with it because it was totally my style of game. Because you could tell the difference when you went from the States to Canada in terms of the physicality.
Like
they let
a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of was. It was exactly like a junior league. And so I do think it was huge for my development and cultivated who I was as a player 100%. And I did want to do it. I was super excited to do it. And definitely not forced into doing it at all. But I do remember I had to I was also trying to do soccer with my high school. And I did that up until my sophomore year was my last year. I got pneumonia that year. So that was a wake up call. And I was like, okay, I'm clearly doing too much.
Right.
And so then that's when I just focused on hockey. So starting my junior year is when I switched to just hockey. And then I did tennis in the summer, but it was too hard to kind of juggle multiple sports at that point. So kind of know when to do that as well.
Well, you've touched on an important life lesson for not just the kids, but the adults listening too. If your body is strained, it will find a way to make you stop.
Yep.
And again, people think I'm joking. Oh, well, she got pneumonia. Yeah, you got pneumonia because probably doing too much, your defenses were down and you got it. And pneumonia, if you ever have pneumonia, kids, you will stop.
Mm-hmm. You literally cannot go.
Yeah, that's a dead stop in your bed. You're not moving for a few days. And when we say not moving, it's not like you can watch TV or read. You do nothing. So just kids, remember, and adults too, if you go too hard, your body will put you in a position where you got to slow down. All right. It'll find a way. The last piece of it too is, again, you love this. There's kids out there that everyone listening to the show loves the game, but maybe the love is a different level, right? In youth hockey, kids, there's so much unneeded anxiety from you, but also put on you. I'm not saying it's your fault, kids. I'm just saying it's just out there. And while a certain level of anxiety can help you, it can help you prepare, it can help push you, there are levels of it that are unhealthy, right? And I think those levels are when your identity is only linked to hockey. I think kids, if you're going into games worried about what your parents may think or what other people might think outside of the team and the coaches, that and even that can be unhealthy sometimes. Or if you feel that your worth is based on your performance, those are not the most healthy ways to approach the game. All right. So, Hayley, as someone who loved this, I'm sure you still dealt with your fair amount of anxiety. Can you talk to the kids for a few minutes about maybe how to compartmentalize that, but also recognize that, it's okay if you don't want to drive to Canada 16 times a week and compete at that level. It's okay. Because at the end of the day, kids, you got to enjoy the game. You've got to find some enjoyment in the game. Go ahead, Hayley.
Yeah, I think for myself, it was hard to juggle parents' expectations. My dad was definitely hard on me growing up, and I felt like I always had to play a perfect game in order for him to be happy or satisfied or whatever. And he always said it just meant, based on my effort and things like that. But sometimes that line was a little bit blurred.
Sure.
And I think it took me a while to kind of get over that, I would say. I think it was hard in my youth days. I think college was super important for me where I was able to kind of create space. But I think that's where you can have boundaries with your parents. You can say, hey, I really don't feel like talking about the game for 24 hours after the game.
Right.
Let's just say you had a bad game and you know it because you know it. Everyone has them. We all have them, and that's okay. And then maybe you get in the car and you're like, guys, I really just don't want to talk hockey at all. give me 24 hours and I'll initiate if I want to talk about it.
I love that.
And I think that's super important, and it's not an easy thing to do necessarily. So just know that it takes a lot of like strength and vulnerability to do that. But I think it's super important to work on those boundaries early, and then it'll kind of help you throughout however long you decide to play.
I think that's tremendous advice. And look, I'm gonna go on a limb here. If you're listening to this show, you probably are one of those kids and one of those parents that can do that, right? I have a feeling the parents who don't want to do that aren't listening to a show called Our Kids Play Hockey or the right thing. So, look, it's a two-way street, kids. You have to advocate for yourselves. And parents, you have to hear that. But at the same time, kids, like parents have things to say too that are valuable. But you have every right to tell your parents, I don't want to talk about this right now. And you should do that if it's not there. And look, parents listening and kids, you should know this. We want to talk about the game after the game. I'm a parent. I've got kids. I always want to talk about the game. It's because I love the game, right? But I also have to recognize as a parent, my kid might not want to do that today, and that's okay. I have to be respectful of that, right? Especially if it's a bad game. I try not to say anything, Hayley, believe it or not. I won't even open my mouth after a bad game. Because they know, like you said, they know.
They know.
They're already going through it in their head.
Yep.
And more often than not, my son and daughter will come to me later and say, hey, could I have done something differently here? Or I felt this way.
That's nice.
Yeah, to me, that's the environment I think that at least for me, that's what I want. All right, kids, really great stuff. I'm going to remind you all, if you can check out Hayley's big episode this week, it was awesome. It was just an awesome episode through the life of a pro hockey player. I think if you have aspirations to play, that's one you're going to want to listen to. But kids, remember, wherever you're at on your hockey journey, we believe in you. You should too. For Hayley, I'm Lee. This has been another edition of The Ride to the Rink. We will see you next time. Make sure to have fun, skate on, and skate hard. Take care.